The Hometown Morning Show with Tori and Kyle. Make sure you go to hometownstation.com for all the latest and greatest Santa Clarita has to offer. And speaking of the greatest Santa Clarita has to offer, a very special guest in studio. It's that time again. Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto joins us in studio. Dr. Jaimie, how are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you guys?
We are doing fine. We're doing fine. So, Dr. Jaimie, if you don't know by now, shame on you. Dr. Jaimie, one of the best vets in the Valley. She works at Cinema Vet. It's your practice, Cinema Vet, on Cinema Drive, obviously. Good name, by the way. How'd you get that?
Just came to me.
Came in vision. Is that it? And we talk to her every once in a while, a couple times a month, about different things, about your pets, about pets in general, about problems, about good stuff. And this morning, we chose to talk about senior pets. Pets. And when we talk about senior pets, what's the window as far as age?
They say they are senior after 7.
7 years, people years.
Right.
People years.
Yeah.
What's
normal years?
normal years. Then you have a senior dog. What is the equivalent? When I was growing up, they said 1 year to every 7. Mm-hmm. Then I heard, in my 20s or 30s, I heard 1 to 5. 1 year equals 5. What's it pretty much equivalent to now?
That's really kind of tricky. I would say probably 1 to 5 is maybe more accurate, but it also depends on the dog, because smaller dogs do tend to live a lot longer than really big dogs. So the smaller dogs, they can live well into their teens, 16, 17 years of age for a little Chihuahua maybe, whereas a Great Dane might live to be 6 or 7.
Really?
So, yeah, the really giant breeds don't live as long. So, and then your Labs and Goldens, those types of, 60 to 80 pound dogs can live 12, 13, 14. So to just say, 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 isn't really accurate.
Gotcha.
Somewhere in variance.
Okay, so it's in between. So it's maybe ish. Yeah. We'll put an ISH on there. Senior pets. Why do senior pets make great companions?
Senior pets do make really great companions, usually because they're settled. They're happy, typically being just the house dog, lap dogs. They don't need typically a lot of exercise or energy expended. They're happy to just be there and be loved on.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. They typically are well trained. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to go through, the whole potty training, obedience training phase. They've typically already gone through that. They know their manners.
Are they calmer in general?
Typically calmer. Mm-hmm. Yes, typically calmer in general.
Are they better with, do you think they're better with kids because of these reasons? What do you think?
Possibly. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times they're already set in their ways. If they're just a type of dog that don't like kids, they're not going to like kids. But a lot of times they've, had more exposure. So because they're calmer, they may have more tolerance. Mm-hmm. But, with kids in general, it's important to teach the kids what's okay and what's not as far as how to interact with dogs, not being too rough and learning different cues from them so that any dog, that it's not too much of a problem.
Why do we have older dogs that need to be adopted? Why do we have senior dogs or cats, just senior animals who need to be adopted? Why do we have that issue? Is it because someone moves away or someone acquires an allergy or was the pet abused or all of the above?
All of the above. There's so many animals just in general in our shelters, and a lot of them are, adults or senior dogs and cats. And I do think that they're harder to adopt out because people typically go wanting a young animal, a young dog, a kitten, a puppy. And so sometimes they could be overlooked thinking, oh, well, I don't want an older animal because they're not going to live very long. But in that amount of time that you get them, there's so much love and so much that you can get out of the relationship, and just giving them a home for their golden years, where they can feel safe and loved is important. Reasons for, being in the shelter, a lot of them are just our owner surrenders for many different reasons. Maybe they have a medical problem, maybe they don't.
You mean the owner or the pet?
The pet. Certainly it could be from an owner. If they had elderly owners, maybe the elderly owner passed away or had to go into assisted living and couldn't keep the pet. A lot of times people move and don't take their pets with them. There's so many reasons.
But is the older pet, depending on the cat or the dog, do you think they're grateful at some point to be adopted?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think they can feel that? Is it
Yes.
something that a dog or cat can feel?
I think that they know that they've been saved. Yes.
Really? And is it a huge problem in our area, in the Santa Clarita Valley, where, I know overall there's a very high euthanasia rate, but is it prevalent here as far as senior dogs? Have you...
I think I think it's pretty much like that with any shelter, that you'll see a lot of all ages of pets, but certainly a lot of senior animals.
And we've got to save them.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And how, when they come to you, so I'm going to spell out a scenario.
Sure.
Someone adopts a senior dog. Let's pick a dog. And they come to you. So they're new owners. They've never had a dog before. They've saved the dog. They're happy. The dog's happy. And they come to you. And now you find that this poor thing is maybe riddled with all kinds of health issues. What happens then?
Well, I mean, we try to tackle one problem at a time. Let's say the most common thing is arthritis. So let's say you adopted this dog and he or she is great and well-trained and lovable, except his mobility is way down and he's in pain. So
let me stop you. How
Yeah.
do we know that the senior dog is in pain?
So picking up on subtle cues, they're not always going to cry or whine. Sometimes they might if they're in a lot of pain, but usually it's more, heavy panting, just a slowness about them to get up or down, maybe a little bit of limping or just, tenderness or walking gingerly.
Gotcha.
So trying to pick out on some subtle signs is always better before things get bad. But there's lots of things we can do for arthritis now. So, we start them on joint supplements. We can do laser therapy. There's pain relief medications we can use. There's lots of things out there to make them comfortable and help with their mobility.
And arthritis, number one by far?
I think so.
Biggest
From
problem
what I
for
see.
senior pets. What about cats? How can we tell? Because they're
Cats
so
are tricky,
slinky.
and cats get arthritis as well, and that's really even trickier than dogs because their signs are usually a lot more subtle. So cats that maybe you've had this kitty for a while and you notice a change in their behavior, if they become a little grumpier than typical, or they don't want to jump up or off of furniture or items that they used to easily, if they're trying to find some other way to get to where they want to go rather than jumping, those would be some of the signs that I see the most, I think.
What about eyesight and hearing? How can you tell? I mean, eyesight, I guess, is it cloudy?
Sometimes they can have some age-related changes that aren't necessarily blinding or affecting their vision too much, but they will look a little bit cloudy. So that's why it's important for us to take a look to see, okay, is it something dangerous like cataracts, or is it just an age change that we need to worry about? But they can... More often they'll have failing hearing with age, and that's just age related. There's nothing you can really do about it. But
how can you tell, though, if they're losing?
Well, there's selective hearing, and then there's really true hearing loss. So sometimes that's tricky when they don't hear you coming or don't hear you calling, but they hear the cookie jar, then that's selective hearing, So just doing some little tests at home to see, if you come home and they used to come to the door and they know that you're there before you even walk in the door, versus you having to come into the door and they're still sleeping and you kind of have to
Wake them up.
make yourself known. Yeah.
Got
and
it.
That's
Got it.
hearing loss.
Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto from CinemaVet. Go to cinemavet.com. I was just reading some of these reviews, and I'm so proud of you because we're buds. Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto, here's one of the reviews. I feel comfortable and confident with all of Dr. Ronchetto's decisions. She is the perfect vet for us. Another review says, we really appreciate Dr. Ronchetto's bedside manner with all of our pets. I highly recommend her to any pet lover. We do too, Dr. Jaimie. If you need a vet, go. cinemavet.com. What's the number?
It is 661-253-9300.
You're the best.